Hi, this is Josh Kulp. We are learning Daf Lammed Aleph, page 31 of Masechet Kiddushin. This daf is all about the mitzvah of honoring one's parents. It's some of the more famous material in the Bavli. I think maybe some of you have learned some of it before, some very memorable statements, very memorable stories. And I just wanted to go over a couple of things that appear in this page. The first one is this notion that there are three partners in the creation of a person. And that's sort of a mother, father, and God. And that's all the Bavli says here. But clearly this rests on a tradition that appears in Masechet Nida with greater clarity. And there, at least according to some versions, it explains that the father provides the white material. This was part of their science. Semen is the father's contribution, so that's the white material. The mother provides the red material. I think they drew this from analogy with the menstrual blood. Obviously, we know that menstrual blood does not cause procreation, but you can imagine why ancient people would have thought that. And God provides the spirit. So some of the things that the father provides are things like the bones, the sinews, the nails, the brain, and the white parts of the eyes, which you can't see because this video for some reason is a little dark. Those are the white parts of a person. And the redder parts that the mother provides are skin, which is interesting that skin is listed there. I'm assuming that the people there were darker than I am, and so that makes sense that skin would not be considered white, but skin would be considered red. Flesh, the meat of a person, the blood, hair, probably very few people had fair hair, and the black parts of the eyes. And the God provides sort of vision, hearing, speech, motion, and the spirit, the animating forces of a person. I think that's a very beautiful tradition. Obviously, it's not scientific, but a person couldn't live without all three of those elements: the white parts, the brown or the red parts, and the spirit. And in that sense, there is also something sort of miraculous that you've got like this. This things, right? You've got inanimate objects that can't really move all that much on their own, and they form a person, a new person, and that person is infused with this Holy Spirit, and that's the creation of a person. So I think that is, no pun intended, fleshed out a little bit better when we understand the parallel in Masechet Nida. Another constant theme here, besides comparing it with the honor of God, is also talking about how difficult it is to honor one's parents. I pointed this out in my commentary that it's a mitzvah that most of us fail at some point in our lives. And when you think about it, we talk about how hard it is to honor God when God is not seen, isn't really known in the same way. And yet, we look at somebody who's very easy to see. We know that we come from those people, and nevertheless, we still have difficulty honoring them. It's among the most difficult relationships, our father and our parent and child. You can see this already from the Tanakh, already from Adam, Eve, and their children have a fraught relationship, and it continues throughout Breshit, and it culminates in the sugyot with rabbis saying you'd be better off never to see one's parents, and a rabbi running away to the land of Israel to get away from one's parents. Which resonates for me. I didn't run away to Israel to get away from my parents, chas v'chalila, but I did leave my parents back in America when I moved to the land of Israel, and probably caused them some pain by moving so far away in what I perceived to be fulfillment of my own life's mission in living in Israel. And that tension still exists. I'm sure I'm not the only person for whom, I know I'm not the only person for whom that tension exists, and it's a real difficulty in fulfilling that mitzvah of honoring one's parents. And it also, I think, is sort of related to the fact that the greatest example of honoring one's parents is Dama ben Natina, a non-Jew. And there's something to be said for that. The rabbis have to sort of look outside of their own tradition to find a person who really understands the depths of what it means to honor one's parents. And maybe there's something to be said here about like Jews being a little rebellious. If Judaism is at its nature a bit of a rebellious religion, then maybe that's why the rabbis have to look outside, and maybe also rabbis themselves have, we know this from elsewhere, often rebelled against their own parents and gone and made their relationship with their teacher the primary relationship of their lives, and that their teachers often replaced their fathers as their primary guiding force in their lives. So I'm sure each of you can reflect on the wonderful aspects and the difficult aspects of living and honoring and treasuring one's parents. Another thing I think to help think about is that for the rabbis, the primary relationship is child to parent. Child has to care for parent. Child has to honor parent. Most of what we owe another person in this world is owed to our parents. And in our society, I think we think of it the other way around. Most of what we owe to another person is owed to our children. So I'm not saying one is right. Obviously, both relationships exist. But it's interesting to reflect, I think, on the difference between the way we view the world and the way they viewed the world. So maybe make some comments, some discussion on the Facebook page, and I hope that I can hear from you there.